Hello. Hello. Kelly here, Kelly's Silica Life. And today I want to talk about chickweed. So for this moon cycle in Cancer, I'm working with four different items. And each moon cycle I've been doing this along the way since the beginning of the year. And each moon cycle I work with an herb, a crystal, a deck, and read a book. And so I've got some information down below about how I'm doing this and some places that you can find the tools that you need to follow along with me. So, but today, even if you don't follow along, you can just listen today. And if you want to, I'll have a PDF that you can download that you can use and put in your book of shadows, but or however you want to use it. But I just wanted to tell you about chickweed and how I've been working with it and how I have been using it in a magical practice and in an herbal practice as well, because I'm learning herbalism and I'm learning how to use mostly dried herbs right now. I didn't this year grow some, I usually have some herbs out on my porch, like basil and thyme and things that will just grow for the summer and I can and harvest. But we were gone in May for the last couple of weeks in May to Japan, and so it's just I just didn't get around to really doing some planting some of my own herbs. So I've been doing. Getting a lot of the dried herbs that I can work with, and I mostly get them from Mountain Rose Herbs online, and I also have a local store that has a lot of food grade herbs and those I use and just get. And I really like those because they're very small amounts. And so I can get them, try them, see if I like them, work with them. And if it's something I'm studying, I can get a small amount and work with that. And so that's what I've been doing. And chickweed is one of those things that it seems on the outside to be very common and very just like, oh, and most, a lot of people, if you talk to gardeners or people who work on lawns and landscapers and things, they'll say that chickweed is a weed. And it is, I guess, considered a weed if you were trying to plant grass and then you have this chickweed that's just kind of taking over because it can become very rampant. And so you're trying to get it out and obliterate it. And so, but you don't really want to. If you can find chickweed and you can find it growing around you in a place where you know that it's safe. And I would never suggest eating anything that you don't know where it came from. But if you find it, even if you find it in a place that you're not quite sure of, and but you can still take a picture of it, use that energy. You can pick some and dry it, just rinse it really well and dry it. And then if it is a place that you're like, I don't really think that I want to use an herb that's in this space, again, you can just work with the energy. And that's the great thing about working with herbs. There's so many layers that you can work with it because you can just work with the energy, with a picture, with just sitting by it. If you have that plant or you have a potted plant, you can also then go deeper and get some that is available, that is like food grade herbs that you can use and ones that you can use to make teas. And that's how I started. I just whatever I was studying, I would just buy a little bit of that herb when I was studying that herb, and I would make some teas with it. And usually I would mix it. I make it by itself first just to see what it tastes like and make some notes on it. And then I would use it I usually use some green tea. So I have some green tea as a base. And then I'll use a two or three more herbs with however I'm feeling that day. And I'll make up some, and sometimes I'll make some mixes, some just a combination of herbs that I want to make together, and I'll put those all together. Like I have a mixture for sleep, and I have one for when I'm getting ready to do readings. I like to use for divination. I have one that just like in the spring when it's still really cold, but I feel like that I want something that is energizing. then I have a couple of mixtures for that. I have some for summer that, and some that just taste good. And so with chickweed is one of those ones that I started studying, and it's just fascinating. It has a fascinating history. It has, it is very aggressive and it can be, very rampant, but you can also, cut it back and use it. And it's great to harvest because you can harvest it and then, more will grow back and you can dry it, you can use it. People a lot of times use it very early in the spring because it's one of the first things that gets green in the spring. And so after a long winter, and needing something that is green and fresh and growing and has a lot of vitamins and minerals, which chickweed does. And so that's why it's really good to use. It has, a lot of things, and you can just take it in a spring salad. And if you know where you got it, or you got it from, an herb, a farmer's market or something like that, or somebody that that grows the herbs, then you can use it just fresh. And sometimes you might even see it, in a in a Whole Foods market, something like that, that you would see, and you could use it for that and use it in the spring. But it was great because people in long ago could use it and find it and have that just fresh burst of springtime, that fresh burst of vitamins and minerals when they were living on all the stores that they had over the winter. So it is one of the first ones that appears in the spring, and you can find it and use it for, if you have it or you grow it, and you can use it and use it that way. Or you can grow it, dry it, and you can use it just in a magical way. So if you don't want to use it in an herbalism way for a tea or to use as food, then you can definitely use it in magic. And you can have some, pick a sprig and put it on your altar when you refresh your altar in the spring. Chickweed is great for that. You can also, if you have dried chickweed, you can use that and put it for, just put it in a little bag and put it on, to carry it around for protection. You can brew a tea with the dried chickweed, and you, again, don't have to drink it. You can use it and just use the water to anoint yourself. You could use it just, as to anoint yourself, to rinse your hands. You can just put, a little chickweed tea on your altar if you don't want to use it topically. And again, with anything that you're using and putting in or on your body, make sure that you are very safe with it, and that you follow precautions and taste it, and make sure that it's nothing, do some research first. Make sure it's nothing that you're allergic to, or make sure that it's nothing that could cause reactions with other things. You might be on medications, and some herbs do cause interactions with medication. So just do some research if you want to use it in that kind of way. But if you don't want to ingest or have it on you, again, there's lots of ways to do it. You put it in a little spell bag, and carry it for protection. Put some on your altar, and just a little dish. You can have some just dried chickweed on your altar. Make a tea, have it on your altar. Make a tea, offer it to nature, to Gaia, offer it to Gaia outside, and or use it on your plants. If you have indoor plants, you can use the tea on your plants. So any of those things are really good to use for chickweed. So, and so if you want to, like I said, the video right before this, I believe, I talked about the cauldron, how I'm putting these things in the cauldron for you to use as your resources. So this will be the thing. I have a PDF that has all the information about chickweed on it. And so you can use this in your book of shadows. You can print it out if you want and make some notes on it if you decide to work with chickweed, how you work with it, and what you feel about it, and the things that you do with it, and the success that you have with it. And it is one of those things that is, if you do use it as a tea, it can be bitter. It can be a little bit off-putting. And so if you do that and use it as a tea, don't be afraid to mix it with some sweetener, with some milk and things like that, and to really get some really good benefits out of it. But anyway, and then you can make notes, and that's what that I have done through this process is when I've worked with an herb, I've kept a record in just a notebook that I have in my kitchen because that's usually where I make my teas. So I have a notebook there, and I will write down how I've used it, how I prepared it, how much I used of it, how if I mixed it with anything else, and how it tastes, and the things that I feel like that it's going to be good for. And if it were something specific that I was using for the the herbalism class, then I would make sure that if there was something like it was an herb for digestion, then I would make sure that I looked at it and said, do I think this is a good one for digestion? And I might test it out in different ways, and just make a note, make a note that use this the next time, um whatever, have a stomach ache or a headache or something like that. And so I would make notes on it. So make sure, again, and that's why I like these PDFs like this and these places that I can take notes and I can have a record of it, and I know what I did. And because there's so many times that I would go in and know and look at an herb, and like I know that I studied this herb and I know that it's good for something, but I can't remember what it is. And so that's why I started taking a lot of notes and making sure that I wrote down things and wrote down the ways that I use it. And so I want to start sharing that with you. So this is a place that you can do this. And I'll probably, and you can look for this later, I'll probably make up kind of a blank sheet that you can use for writing down your herbals, because I have a blank sheet for the decks, and I have a blank sheet um, for the book, and so for a book with you, and you'll find that in the cauldron, and I'll leave that list here, that link for you here. So I'll try to do that and make up a list, just a blank sheet that has this on it, so you can put in the things that you study along with it. But that is chickweed for today. So I hope this inspires you to go out and use an herb. And if not chickweed, just maybe look and see if you have any chickweed growing in your yard, or if you know that you have some earlier or had some earlier in the spring, just make note of it, and try some herb, try a different herb maybe that you have in your pantry that you've never tried before. Maybe you have a jar of an herb or spice that you've never tried before and you want to try it. So try it today. Taste it, see what it tastes like. And you can do it. And that's the great thing about herbalism again. So you can do it in so many ways. You can just take something that you've never used, or take one that's a favorite. Like, oh, I love this, and I haven't used it in a long time, or this is something that I really love to use, and write it down. Take some notes. Why is it that you like it? What is it that you like about the taste? When do you use it? Do you put cinnamon in your coffee? Do you like ginger in your tea? Those kinds of things. Write them down and make a note of them, because that's magic. That's making magic in your everyday life. But today, just focus on some chickweed, and you can we'll just take a moment and just give a little bit of thanks to chickweed and its hardiness, and how it has, maybe one of your ancestors maybe used chickweed early in a long time ago in healing, or making a salad, or picking chickweed when it first came out in the spring, or wherever you are, wherever your ancestors came from, or wherever your healing lineage came from, or the people that were healers in your ancestry, in all of our ancestries, and all the people that brought us to where we are today. So just give some thanks to chickweed, and how it can help us, the things that it can give us, the vitamins and minerals that it can give us, either as an herb taken in a tea, or the way that it can give us protection, and just kind of make us feel better give us some spring energy and going forth. So thank you to the chickweed and thank you for being here today. And I will see you again soon. Bye.